funambulist. And not very many people know what it means, let alone be it. So be a funambulist is my prayer to all you creative people here at Yale tonight. The second thing I want to tell you, and I'll go over it fast before you get too bored, is love your punching bags. Just as my life has centered around creativity, like every fellow human being, it has also centered around the wish to find happiness. Your age is the age when we most confuse happiness with gratification, so I will quite plainly tell you. If you are smart, if you want to survive life's relentless onslaught of challenges, you will sooner or later understand that the things that make you happy 10 years ago will end up being the ones that make you happy when you hit the geriatric superage stage also. So kids, start collecting your action figure heroes now. I have everything I could have aspired for at your age. I have success, I have fame, I have wealth, and I have 3 PlayStations. I do. I have one for the house, one for shootings, and one just in case because I can have one more. But none of these but none of these have any consequence to my happiness. The only thing that does it is the love of my children. You don't have children. I hope. Not yet. And if you have, don't tell the master. But you have parents. And you have people you love. And nothing in this world of everything means more than that. Happiness, in other words, lies in the things you will never be able to count. To me, it is no more than cuddling to my kids and watching iCarly or the Family Guy. Yeah. I think Family Guy is very cool. And then I think iCarly is also very sweet. Yeah. Most of the time I do that. The other day my son and I stumbled upon Kama Sutra on the net. And I can tell you that experience was not very happy. He's 14 and he knew more about the poses than I did. That sucked, yeah. I want you to understand this business of happiness well, because I know at one level all parents are actually the same. Some look sterner, some are less fun, some are embarrassingly weird. But for each parent, the bottom and the top line of their lives is this: you kids are the greatest source of happiness. Parents want nothing in return. Just that you respect that feeling, that's all. I'd like to narrate an incident of my own children. First of all, let me be very clear, I do believe girls are from the planet Venus. My girl comes from a place of gentleness, caring, love, intelligent, and all things beautiful. My boy comes from, I'm too good to be your son planet. And I know this may make me very unpopular, but I wanted to say this while I was flying here, that if one thing that you take away from this lecture tonight, I want everyone to know, boys are obnoxious. Yeah. They are philandering, lying, cheating, supercilious, sneering, snobs. Girls are good. Yeah. लड़कियों को पटाने के लिए ऐसा करना पड़ता है. But I believe that. I like girls. I think girls are much better. I was in London shooting and missing my kids, and I'll give you an instance. Being from the boring school of people who send writings to their kids in the hope of making them better human beings, I sent my daughter this verse from a poem by E. E. Cummins. And you guys should read the poem. It's fantastic. And this poem is for all the girls here. So I want to read this out. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Only something in me understands. The voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. And this is for all you girls, and the only smaller hands is, I guess, this little kid who's crying there. But wait. I sent this message to my daughter, and I instantly received this text message in return. I love it, Papa. It is beautiful. I'm going to write it in my secret diary with the secret lock and keep it in my secret hiding place under the Katy Perry and Lady Gaga poster. I love you, and I miss you. I'm too excited watching Hunger Games tonight. And feeling Feeling bad that I hadn't texted something meaningful to my darling son, I sent him something I had read too. "How are you, my son?" I wrote. "I missed you." Do you know, a boy is someone that a mother loves the most. Little girls hate him. He is truth with dirt on its face, beauty with a cut on its finger, wisdom with smell in its hair, and hope of the future with a frog in its pocket. I love you. He replied back with one letter of the alphabet. No, it actually is very close to you. It had a but in front, and says but, and it had the Y of Yale. Why? I mean, like, so, why are you sending such boring messages? And of course, there was an emoticon, one of those squiggly little things, which I can't make out what they're expressing. I wanted to fly to Mumbai and hang him upside down till he looked like a silly-faced emoticon himself. But I didn't. I just smiled, and both replies made me feel love for my kids. Whatever they do, as long as they're happy, it makes me happy. So I speak to you as a parent of two very weird kids. Whatever you do, whichever mistake you make, however you react to them, your parents are your best friends. They might be boring, silly, or stern at times. Maybe some of you are embarrassed of yours. I know my kids are of me. But if ever any of you are in trouble, of any kind, the best friends you can always trust to watch your backs are your parents. They will always come good. I lost my parents very early in my life, and I miss them dearly. So all of you who still have yours, don't listen to them. Fool them if you must. A bit of lying is also welcome. But make sure you cherish what you have, because when you don't have them, like me, you really miss someone to be rude to, someone you can take for granted, someone to say and do whatever you wish with. You miss the comfort of being loved unconditionally. I call parents unconditional and forgiving punching bags who feel happiest when they get bashed up by the kids. If you want to survive life, it's best to begin to respect the gift of love right now. As children, your first teachers of this acceptance are your parents. If you're unable to accept the love they give you, in whatever form it arrives, even if it's in the form of a tight slap across your faces, then when you become a parent, you will end up having to learn this lesson somewhat more harshly from teachers you give birth to. Those are your kids. And learning Kama Sutra from my son is not a great idea, you would agree. Incidentally, he studies in the school that Isha's mom runs in India. I have to say, ma'am, your syllabus is quite different from the one I used to study when I was 14. She's insisting that she will get Kama Sutra in Yale also very soon. And the last bit, a fiendish friend called failure. Whether I like it or not, my life has also been in constant play with what the world calls success. Success is a wonderful thing, but it tends not to be the sort of experience that we learn from. We enjoy it, perhaps we even deserve it, but we don't acquire wisdom from it. And maybe that's why it cannot be passed on either. Me being successful does not mean my kids are going to be successful, even if I teach them everything that I know and how to do it. So I feel that talking about success is completely a big waste of time. Instead, let me tell you very honestly, whatever happened to me happened because I've always been terrified of failure. I don't want as much to succeed as much as I don't want to fail. I come from a very normal, lower middle class family. I saw a lot of failure. My father was a beautiful man and the most successful failure in the world. My mother also failed to stay long enough with me to see me become a big movie star. We were quite poor actually, and let me tell you, poverty is not an ennobling experience at all. Poverty entails fear and stress and sometimes depression. I watched my parents go through this several times. At an early age after my parents died, I equated poverty with failure. I just didn't want to be poor. So when I got a chance to act in films, it wasn't out of any creative desire. I say this honestly. It was purely out of the fear of failure and poverty. Most of the films I signed were discards of better-known actors, and the producers could not find anyone else to do them. I did them all to make sure that I was working to avoid unemployment. The timing or something was right. I worked very hard. There were other people around it. And I became a big star. The films became big hits. Which means sometimes our success is not the direct result of our actions. And let nobody tell you that. Success sometimes just happens. Really. It is accidental, and we have to take credit for it. I do it sometimes sheerly out of embarrassment. So I believe the true path to success is through the fear of failure. If you aren't scared enough of failing, you're unlikely to succeed. It's not pleasant to fail, it's tough. All of us experience it. You will too, if you haven't already. So use it to succeed. How I've done is, a few points I'd like to say, and then I'll end this monologue. Firstly, it's not the absence of failure that makes you success, that makes success. It is your response to failure that actually helps to buffer the reverses that you experience. I personally have one response to failure: pragmatism. A recognition and belief that if one approach does not work, then the other will or might. Failure also gives me an incentive to greater exertion, harder work, which invariably leads to later success in most cases. Repeated failure has taught me to stop pretending I'm someone else. It's given me the clarity to stick to things that really matter to me instead of distracting me from my core. Failure also gets you to find who your real friends are. The true strength of your relationships only gets tested in the face of strong adversity. Overcoming some of my failures has made me discover that I have a strong will and more discipline than I suspected. It has helped me to have confidence in my ability to survive. Failure is an amazing teacher. There's a well-known story of this very successful man, and a reporter asked him, "Sir, how is it that you always succeed?" And he said, "Right decisions." I said, "How do you make right decisions?" And he says, "Experience." He says, "How do you get so experienced?" He said, "Wrong decisions and failure." So do fail, and it's all right to fail. You have to know and learn that life is not just a checklist of acquisitions, attainments, and fulfillments. Your qualifications and CVs don't really matter. Instead, life is difficult and complicated and beyond anyone's control. The humility to know it will help you survive its vicissitudes. This is the second big word that I've learned. Yeah. But I don't want to sound dark. My hope for all of you is that you retain a lifelong love of learning, that you never cease to dream exciting and inspiring dreams, and when you fail, you fail well enough to succeed the next time. Don't be afraid of being afraid. Be afraid of not facing your fears and failures. As I was coming here, and this is my dream, I was telling the press outside when I walked in here, I sent a message to my little daughter who's 11 and a half, my son 14, and I said, it's one of the most beautiful institutions I've seen in my life. Genuinely, you guys are fortunate to be studying here. And I really wish my kids are good enough like you, all you young boys and girls and all the parents who've helped them do this, are good enough to reach here and study and get this opportunity. So I wrote to my daughter and said, so pretty and nice and beautiful, I wish you could come and study here. And she sent me back a long message, as she always does. Is it pretty, Papa? Is it nice? Is it snowing there? Because I told her last time I was here it was snowing. And my son sent me one alphabet, K, which I have understood when you extend means okay. Yeah. And for some reason he's also written, Papa, Chuck Norris has trained his dog to pick up its own poop. Because Chuck Norris will not take shit from anyone. So remember, all boys and girls, that you're fortunate enough to be funambulists. You have an amazing set of punching bags. Your parents cherish them always. And failure is your fiendish friend. Keep him close. And as my son sent a message, don't take no shit from anybody. God bless you. Thank you very much.